Hello, welcome to Wellness Wednesday with Maple Tree Cancer Alliance. Whether you're newly diagnosed, undergoing treatment, or in recovery, this conversation is for you. I'm Fernanda, an exercise oncology instructor, and today's conversation is on intellectual wellness. Following our conversation, stick around for some gentle movement. The information in this video is for educational purposes only, and it's important to consult with your medical team for more in-depth guidance and advice. All right, let's get started. You may know that wellness has several areas, and one of them is intellectual. So, Northwestern University defines intellectual wellness as recognizing one's creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. Let's break it down a little further. So, we recognize what we enjoy doing or have always wanted to do that is suitable for this period of time. And then we find ways or set small goals to get to an end result. And we expand by working on those little goals to achieve that final result as often as we can. And you may be wondering why intellectual wellness is even relevant to you. So our brains are constantly working and listening to everything that we say and think, even when we think they're not. So when we're given a diagnosis, we tend to go on thought spirals, like we talked about previously, and that only increases our stress levels and leave us tired. So because we need to stop doing our normal routine due to treatment, that might mean that we need to stop doing the activities that we used to enjoy, and it can feel like we're going downhill. So learning a new hobby or working on a hobby that you used to have but stopped doing can help us feel better and can help us feel like we're progressing during this period of time. So we can either find a new hobby or master a forgotten hobby. If we decide to find a new hobby, this is what we can do to find it. So we can write down a list of things that we have always wanted to learn or to do. And make sure to only pick one. You have a lot going on with appointments and everything at this period of time. So just make sure that you choose one so you don't overwhelm yourself. And make sure that what you choose is feasible for the time being. So for example, if you want to pick golf as a hobby, but you know you're going to have a surgery that will restrict your range of motion to swing the club, golf might not be the best option. And then you can either set SMART goals if you are a planner like me, or you can just do it for the pleasure of doing it. And we'll talk about SMART goals later today. And then try to find time as often as you can to work on that goal or hobby and celebrate your success or your progress. This is really important and is often overlooked. And we'll talk about this later too. To master a forgotten hobby, basically you follow the same steps that we discussed, except the first one. So for the first one, just try to remember things that you used to really love but stopped doing just because life got too busy. And if you are having issues remembering, ask your close ones and they might be able to help you with that. Okay, so SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Basically what this means is that you want to set small, specific goals that would lead you to your ultimate result or your big goal. And try to make sure that they're relevant, and try to make sure also that you give grace to yourself if your plan doesn't go according to plan. So sometimes life happens and we get busy, and it's okay to readjust or change them. And so, just make sure that you're patient with yourself when you're setting these goals. Okay, we talked about celebrating our success or progress, and this is why it's very important. So when we start something, it really looks like there's no progress for a little bit. So we see in that little pink line that it's like here, and it almost looks like zero progress. Reality is that 1% better every day will make you 37 times better in a whole year, whereas 1% less will lead us to zero. So we tend to think that progress is linear, like we see over there, that we just start and then it goes. And it's not, it's curved. So it's very easy to fall into that valley of disappointment. So to avoid that, it's important to reward that 1% better every day. So the more we reward ourselves, and not to be proud or like prideful or anything, but just to celebrate what we did, the more dopamine our brains get. So that good feeling, and we like that sensation. So the more we do it, the more we want to or have the desire to improve in that goal or hobby that we have. And as usual, I have an invitation for you to put this into practice. So I want you to either find a new hobby or master a forgotten hobby, and do this for you, not to impress anybody else, just for you, to help your brain grow during this time and to help you progress. All right. Thank you for being part of our conversation on intellectual wellness. I hope the information we've covered has brought you to some clarity and comfort. Your health and well-being are what matter most, so please continue to take care of yourself, stay informed, and remember that hope is always present. Now let's transition into some gentle movement to further support your journey.
Hi guys, I'm Morgan, your exercise oncology instructor for Maple Tree Cancer Alliance. Welcome to week 8 of our low intensity strength training program. This week we'll be focusing on alternating oppositional movements. These movements are important for building strength and coordination and stability. We will need a chair for the cool down. Also, as always, safety is our top priority, so remember to listen to your body and perform the exercises within a pain-free range of motion. All right, let's get started. All right, guys, we're going to start our warm-up for week 8, and we're going to begin with some YTWs. And so what we're going to do is we're going to raise our arms up like a Y, and then out to the side like a T, and then we're going to bend our arms like a W. And we're going to go through this 10 times. So set 1, Y, T, W, and then hands down, Y, T, W, 2, Y, T, W, 3, Y, T, W, and 4, Y, T, W, and 5, Y, T, and W, 6, Y, T, W, 7, Y, T, W, 8, Y, T, W, 9, and last one, Y, T, W, and 10. All right, we're going to raise those arms up again into that W position, but we're going to start with our hands facing forwards, and then we are going to go into that W and then push overhead and back down, and then have those hands go forwards. And so this is called a Cuban press. We are going to do a set of 10. All right, so we're going to raise those arms up in front, hands facing forwards at a parallel, and then face towards the ceiling and press, and then back down and face forwards. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, and 10. All right, if you need to roll your shoulders out a little bit, I want you to do a couple shoulder rolls, and then we are going to do some up and overs. So what that's going to look like, I'm going to stay in place, but you guys can make a nice line if you want to. And we are going to lift one leg up, just like we're stepping over something. And then we're going to lift the other leg up. And then we're going to put our leg nice and low and go underneath what we are just stepping over. So up and overs. And we're going to do a set of 10. So up, up, and down. Up, up, and down. That's 2. Up, up, and 3. Up, up, and 4. Up, up, and 5. All right, and we are going to go the opposite direction now that we've done 5 on one side. So then we up, and down, up, and down. That's 2, up, and down. 3, up, and down. And 4, and up, and 5. All right. And then we're going to do a little calf stretch. So we're going to go into a nice deep lunge with that back leg nice and straight, front leg slightly bent, pushing our knee over our toe and trying to put our heel to the ground in the back. And stretching out that calf. We're going to do 10 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to switch. So switch legs. Same thing, knee over toe, pushing that back leg straight and that heel to the floor. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, and now we're gonna stretch out our hamstrings. So we're gonna take one foot in front and we're just gonna hinge at our hips just a little bit until we feel that nice stretch in the back of our leg. And we're gonna hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now we're going to switch. So opposite leg in front with that foot nice and flexed. And we're going to hinge at those hips with a straight back until we feel that stretch. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, we're going to take a couple deep breaths. And one more. All right, and we're going to move on into our workout for the day. So we're starting with some skaters. And so what those are going to look like are a hop to one leg with a cross in the back. And so we're going to hop, and then that opposite leg is going to cross to the back, and then that opposite leg comes in front, and then we're going to cross again. And so if we need some stability, we can always place a chair in front of us to hold on to so that we can hop back and forth and not have to worry about falling. All right, so we are going to do 10 on each leg, and we're going to do it 2 times through. All right, so we're going to hop and cross, hop and cross. You can even put your hands on your hips. And this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure you're not standing on a straight leg. We're getting a nice bend, so we're nice and stable. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and 2 more. Woo. And 20. All right, and we're going to shake it out a little bit. Take a couple deep breaths. Let our heart rate come down just a little bit. All right, and if you feel like you need a challenge, taking bigger jumps and landing on that single leg without that back leg touching the floor is going to make that challenge even more so than what we're doing right now. All right, so we're going to do another set of 20 and cross 1, 2, 3, keeping that chest up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right. Let's take 2 more deep breaths, and then we will begin our next movement. Remember, we're breathing deep into our belly so we get as much oxygen into our lungs as we can. All right. And one more breath. Okay. Our next movement is going to be some high back lunges. And so what that's going to look like is we're going to put our hands on our hips and we're going to step back and then do a high lunge and then step back together. And so our goal is to keep our chest up and allow ourselves to go as low as possible, keeping our knee over toe and then standing back together. And so we're going backwards so that the emphasis is more on our hamstrings than it is our quads. All right, so we got 2 sets of 20. And we're going to start with 1, 2, 3. Remember, we're alternating. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if you need a little extra stability, having a chair next to you will really help with that. And 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right. We're going to take a couple deep breaths and then we'll get into our second set. So remember, big belly and breathing out through a straw. And one more. All right. And we have one more set of 20 with those alternating back lunges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, we have 2 more movements left in this workout. Let's take a deep breath. We are going to do some high knees with a crossbody punch. And so what that's going to look like is we are going to punch crossbody while our opposite knee comes up nice and high. And so we are getting that opposite side of the body coordination and working on that nice core stability while we are standing on one foot and having our limbs move in 2 different directions. And we are going to do 2 sets of 20. So it's going to be 10 on each side. And we're going to take one more deep breath. And we're going to get started. So we're going to punch opposite arm, opposite leg, opposite arm, opposite leg. And 3, 4, 5, 6. And get that knee as high as you can. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, if we need some extra challenge, having weights with our crossbody punches will really help with that. But we're going to take one nice deep breath, and we're going to do our second set. All right, opposite arm, opposite leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, we're going to shake everything out, do a little couple wiggles, stretching those hips if we pop those hips to the side, that gives us a little bit of an IT band stretch, which is one of those muscles that we are challenging today. All right, our last movement of our workout is going to be some lateral lunges. And so what that's going to look like is we're going to start with a wide stance, and it's going to be a little bit wider than what we are used to because we want to be able to get full range of motion. And so I like to put my hands on my hips or in front of my chest, and we are going to have our knee go over our toe while keeping our chest up. And I want you guys to try and go as low as possible without letting our chest fall towards our knee, and really kind of fight and keep that chest facing the wall. We're going to do 2 sets of 20. So that's going to equal 10 on each leg. And we're going to get started. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We got 10 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right. We are going to come back to our normal stance. Take a couple deep breaths. Something I do want to put emphasis on is that when we are doing these, we want to hinge at our hips before we bend at our knee, and that way we are able to keep our chest up as much as possible while avoiding having our knee go too far over our toe. So again, we're going to go out into that wide stance, a little bit wider than what we feel like we need to. Hands on our hips, and we're going to have that knee track over our toe, and we're hinging at those hips first, keeping a nice flat back and stable core. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got 10 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 2 more, 19, and 20. All right. Great job, guys. Let's take a couple deep breaths. And 1 more. All right. We are going to start our cool down, and it is going to be seated. So I want you to grab your chair or wherever you're sitting, and we will be seated for our whole cool down. And let's take a couple deep breaths. All right, we're going to start with our seated twist. And so we want to put our opposite hand over the outside of the opposite leg. You can even put your hand on your chair or on the back of the chair. And we are going to twist our torso, which is nice and upright, and really push that arm against the hand, trying to twist our spine and get some mobility in there. And I want you to hold it for about 3 seconds, and we're going to do this 5 times on each side. All right, so hand on the outside of the knee, and we're going to press, trying to turn, and that's 1, 2, try to have a nice flat back, 3, 4, and 5. All right. On the last one, try to push a little bit farther as long as it's not painful. All right, and same thing, opposite arm. on the outside of our opposite leg, and we're going to push. 1, 2, 3, 4, and last one, try to push a little bit farther, and 5. If you have any pops or back cracking, that's totally okay unless it is painful, but otherwise it should feel good and have a pressure release in your back. All right, we're going to scoot to the edge of our chair. We're going to put our feet out in front of us, and we're going to reach up to the ceiling, and then we're going to hinge at our hips, reach down towards our toes as far as we can, keeping those legs nice and straight. And we're going to hold for 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to stretch up again, looking up at the ceiling, getting those arms up overhead, and then reaching towards those toes, trying to get that nice hamstring stretch with straight knees, looking down at those knees, and stretching back up. We're going to do this 2 more times, and stretch down towards those toes. You can even flex them, trying to keep those knees nice and straight. And one last time, stretching up, bending at those hips, keeping our back nice and flat, looking at our knees, and getting that nice stretch in our hamstrings and our calves. All right. And then we are going to work on some shoulder cars. And what that's going to look like is just some arm circles, but our goal is to keep our thumb up on top of our hand so that we can get our shoulder joint in the full range of motion. And so I like to scoot out from the edge of the chair. If you have an arm on the chair, you might want to do this standing up. But we are going to keep our thumb on top of our hand so we get to the top, and then we rotate our shoulder so that that thumb stays on top in the back, and then rotate it again as we come through the bottom, keeping that thumb right on top of our hand. And so I want you to go through this the best that you can. So if you're not able to reach all the way back, I want you to reach as far as you can, keeping that thumb up on top, but a pain-free range of motion. And we're going to do this 5 times, nice and slow, keeping a nice upright neutral spine, and just letting that shoulder rotate in the socket. And last one. All right, and we're going to switch sides. So thumb up on top. Same thing, reaching as far back as we can, keeping that thumb up on top, rotating that arm. And that's 1. 2. 3. Nice and slow and controlled. 4, and 1 more. And 5. All right, we're going to end on our hip cars. And so that means we're just putting our hip through our full range of motion, but we're still going to stay seated. And so what that's going to look like is we're going to raise our hip over to the side, and then rotate it out to the side, and then bring it down in front again, back up to our chest, out to the side, and then back through. If you want to do this standing, it does give you a little bit more range of motion, but sitting is perfectly fine. All right, we're going to do 5 on each side. And so try to do this unassisted without your hands. Bring that knee up to your chest as high as you can, and then out to the side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And then we're going to switch to our other side. So knee up to our chest, out to the side, and then bringing it back in front. And up. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, guys, that's all that we have for today. Thanks for joining me in week 8, and I will see you in week 9.